We're going to start it off the same way with gratitude. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know there's so many other things you could be doing with your time. So the fact that you're taking your precious time to spend it with us means the world to me. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
What up, boss? Welcome to the Mac City Morning Show.
All right, and we're back. Okay, so as per usual, I am not going to introduce the guest because they can do a better job at saying their name and telling us what they're all about. So on that note, can you please introduce yourself to the people at home, who you are and what you're all about?
Yeah, so my name is Diana Noble. I like to introduce myself as a serial entrepreneur because sometimes it's just easier to say that as opposed to everything that I do. But here locally, I do own 4 different businesses. Noble Services Inc. is a process serving company delivering legal documents, coming up on its 10-year anniversary actually next month. I have a media company, Noble Media Corporation, which is kind of like my side hobby business. You know, I don't really market that business, but I do a bit of content writing, a little bit of web design, a little bit of graphics here and there. Then I have Seller Direct Northern Homes Realty, my real estate brokerage, and then Noble Choice Coaching, where I'm a ICF certified business coach and consultant.
That's awesome. Busy.
Yeah, you could say that.
Busy. Yeah, you definitely, and you were the former owner of a magazine here in town as well.
Yep, former owner of Snapped at Buffalo for 6 years.
Yeah, so you definitely, you like to try different things out. You're not afraid of doing like different entrepreneurial things for sure.
Yeah, no, I love it.
So let me just jump into that right away, just because I know you and I have spoke at different conferences before, and I really love your responses when you get asked these questions. And the other ones aren't on film, so this one will be on film. If there's people looking out there who are younger or potentially even older who are thinking like, hey, I would like to try to be an entrepreneur, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Well, definitely speak to somebody who's been there before, because when I opened my business just about 10 years ago, I had no former experience. I didn't know what I was getting into. Thankfully, I had a little bit of mentorship through the law firm that I worked through at the time. They helped me get incorporated and I got my business license and whatnot. But I went through many, many, many years and many mistakes and whatnot in all of my businesses. And of course, those things helped me learn and grow. But that's partially why I'm a business coach and consultant now, is so that way I can help people who are wanting to get into business or who are already in business and struggling to kind of be successful, I guess. You know, the business success rate in Canada, they say that no more than 50% of businesses survive 5 years. And that's alarming in terms of, you know, the failure rate, I guess you could say. It's almost like the divorce rate.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it.
You know, so if I can help somebody, you know, to navigate the ups and downs of being in business, if somebody is getting into business, they should certainly reach out. There's a ton of free resources in the province as well, and people that they can speak to, you know, figure out, is this the best way to go forward? What should I do? Should I incorporate? Should I be a sole proprietor? You know, there's so many different facets, I guess, of starting and running a business. So
Yeah, that's right. And I think what you said is key in regards to there are so many mistakes that you're going to make. And if you have a resource, maybe a coach or like you said, there's online resources or something, mistakes are just part of owning and starting a business. I know me and Tanner make mistakes almost every day at the Mac City Morning Show.
Every day.
Every day, from like sound or video. Like it's a learning process. And I think as an entrepreneur, and me and Tanner, we talk every day. We spend a lot of time together, and that's something that we talk about in regards to like, listen, it's okay to make mistakes if you grow from them and if you just keep going.
that's right.
And that's the hard part about being an entrepreneur. Like I feel that's why some people fail. Is like you need to know you're going to make mistakes all the time, and that's okay. Just like keep pushing forward.
Well, and taking calculated risks too, right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people, you know, they have this idea, and especially here in Fort McMurray, we know that there's high rents for, you know, it's not a secret. But if you're going to start a retail business, for example, maybe you don't sign a 10-year lease right off the bat. You
Right.
know? Like
yeah, that's it. So in regards to Fort McMurray, you've been here for quite some time, but what brought you here initially?
Yeah, so it's almost been 13 years ago. Actually, yesterday in my Facebook memories from 13 years ago, we announced that we were moving to Alberta. because my husband, who's now my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, his parents were already living here, and he lost his job in Ontario. This was early 2008. And his mom was living here, and there was an opening for shipper receiver where she worked, and he had a phone interview, and 3 weeks later, we packed up everything that we owned into my little Sunfire. It had, 300,000 kilometers on it, and we drove. We packed everything up that we owned, and we drove across country. It took us 4 days, and we literally, no word of a lie, like I'm not even exaggerating here, we had $10 left to our names when we arrived in town. Like, thank goodness we had enough money for gas in Wandering River before we got here. I remember seeing the sign, like, no gas for 200 kilometers. It was like, okay, well, we only had $10 left. And, it was, wow, it's just thinking back, I'm humbled by it because, we came from those rough beginnings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think that's the story of a lot of individuals who actually moved to Fort McMurray in regards to they're looking for employment or they didn't have opportunity where they were, and then they moved to Fort McMurray and they were able to find it.
That's right.
So, yeah, I forgot what guest we were speaking about this with, but that's my favorite part about Fort McMurray is whatever you want to do, you can do it. Like, the opportunity is there. Like, if I decided I wanted to be a fireman today, I could make a few phone calls and figure out, like, what the steps are required to be a fireman. Not to say I'd get the job, but the opportunity is there that I could try. So Fort McMurray definitely does allow you the opportunity to kind of be whatever you want and reinvent yourself.
Absolutely. Like, if you had to ask me 13 years ago where I'd be right now,
right,
I wouldn't be telling you that I had multiple businesses or that I even owned a house or, you just don't know what's possible. And then you get here and you're like, wow, this is possible, Even the job that I had at the law firm, which was a huge change for me, and actually, had I not had that job, it wasn't my first job here. My first job here, I was working on site. I was 21 years old, and I was the site manager for 60 janitors at 21 years old. And I got let go of that position in early 2009 when kind of things went the other direction here. And I was unemployed for 2 months, and then I got the job at the law firm, and that was the game changer for me. But I mean, in Ontario, where I'm from, you wouldn't be getting a job at a law firm with a high school education. It just wouldn't happen, So the fact that they took a chance on me and just helped me improve my skills, and then from there, that's how I opened my first business, was while I was working at the law firm. So that was the game changer for me, and definitely I owe everything that I am really to Fort McMurray, because again, even if you have that drive and ambition, somewhere else you might not be able to make the same thing happen.
Right, that's exactly it. Now, in regards to the different businesses, because I kind of fall into the same bucket in regards to I start one thing and then all of a sudden there's something new. Hence the Mac City Morning Show. Like, it's an evolution. What is about you that continues to make you want to try different things and start different businesses and see all these different opportunities?
Yeah, so this is a trap that entrepreneurs fall into. I'm actually speaking about this very thing on my show tomorrow, the Balancing Act Business Chat. A lot of times, entrepreneurs fall subject to shiny object syndrome, right? It's like, oh, this opportunity, I could do this, I could do that. For myself, I'm just very passionate about a lot of different things. Certainly not every business that I have fuels my passion. I'm not incredibly passionate about my process serving company, but hey, it's 10 years running. I have little to no marketing for it, and it pays the bills, and it's its own well-oiled machine.
Right.
But definitely the newspaper, when that opportunity landed on my doorstep, that was something I was very passionate about. I went to school for journalism. I didn't finish school for journalism, but I went to school for journalism. And so really for me, it's just following my passions and all of the stories. I could tell you the whole entire story of how all of these businesses came about. And really, I mean, aside from the process serving company, the rest of them pretty much have to do with passion. Real estate wasn't a passion. It was kind of more of, I was sitting at the law firm and I was running my one business and I was starting to get bored because, entrepreneurs, we get bored. And it was kind of like, well, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And funny enough, I was actually typing up a dictation for a real estate client that the law firm had. And this person had their hand in all of these different businesses. And it was like that aha moment. This is what I want to do. I should get into real estate so that I can have my hand in all of these different things, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Cool. Now, you just mentioned you got a show. Let's give that show a plug so people can tune into that as well. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so every other Wednesday on my Facebook page, so Noble Choice Coaching, I do the Balancing Act Business Chat, and I'll just talk about different things having to do with business. So a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how to utilize Instagram to, market your business. This week, I'm talking about how to retrain your brain to follow through, because that's what a lot of entrepreneurs don't do, right? Is like we get this idea, and here you had this idea, and you're following through with it. But a lot of times, people either they get bored in the details and they don't follow through with something because something else more exciting comes along, and they're like, hey, I'm going to stop this because this is boring me now, and I'm going to, pursue this. Or in coaching, we call that they get paralysis by analysis. So there's so many opportunities and there's so many options that people are like, oh, I don't know what to get started on. So then they end up standing still and doing nothing.
That's right.
Right. So I'm going to be talking about that on Wednesday, tomorrow, I guess. 12:30. You can tune into that on my Facebook page live.
Cool. And how long have you been doing that for?
About 4 or 5 months now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, good. So everybody at home, definitely tune into that every other Wednesday on your Facebook page. Very cool.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at the part of the show now called the Mac City Minute. This is Tanner's baby. He kills it every day, crushes it at it. He's going to ask you 5 questions. Please just answer them as honestly as you can.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to put you on the spot a little bit.
All right. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Tanner, hit her with her questions.
Question number 1 for you today. How has owning so many businesses in town shown you the people of Fort McMurray?
How has it shown me the people of Fort McMurray?
Correct.
Yeah, so I deal with a lot of people on a daily basis. In my process serving company, not so much local. We don't really serve as much local because it's law firms from outside of the city that are hiring us in all across Canada, the States, wherever. So not so much that business, but real estate, of course, we serve a lot of buyers and sellers. My agents are phenomenal. I've gotten to know them really well and cultivate that team, that cohesive team of awesome people that just really love what they do. Coaching, of course, that is my dream job because I get to sit with other entrepreneurs and help them reach their goals and have success for themselves. And my media and marketing company, like I said, that's just kind of a hobby job for me. So I'm not really conversing with too many people there. With Snapped with Buffalo, of course, we were always out in the community meeting so many people. There's a lot of people that say, oh, hey, Diana. And I'm like, hi, what's your name again? I'm so sorry. But yeah, definitely all of my businesses have allowed me to do that.
Question number 2 for you today. What is something people don't realize is a part of your daily routine?
Something that people don't realize as part of my daily routine. I don't know if there is something that people don't realize because I'm pretty transparent about what my routine is. So I guess just starting my day reading a book, something that's, inspirational, that's going to help me. I don't read any fiction. Right, fiction.
I get it confused all the time.
Yeah, and then drinking cappuccino in the morning and night. I have my French vanilla cappuccino in the morning when I read my book, and at night before I go to bed, I write in my journal, I plan out my day, and I drink my cappuccino.
Question number 3. What was it like starting with one business and now owning 4?
Well, I used to think I was really busy back in the day when I had just one business because I was working full time at one point and I was running the business on evenings and weekends. And I remember seeing in my Facebook memories, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy and so busy. And like, now that I look back at that in hindsight, and now I've got a 3.5-year-old as well, like, but I do like to think that I've shifted from busy to productive. So that's the big difference.
Question number 4 for you. Why do you like helping the people of Fort McMurray?
I just like helping people in general. I don't know if it's specific to helping people in Fort McMurray, but helping people in general because that's just part of my nature. That's what I love to do. I love to be of a need, of assistance to others. And it just fills my cup to help people.
And your last question, Dave. What is the craziest story from owning so many businesses in town for so long?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard one. I don't know if I can answer that right off the top of my head. I'd have to think about that. The craziest story. Oh, Okay, the craziest story, and it's maybe not crazy, it's maybe a little sad, I don't know, but when I had my son, I had him by C-section, and I was running 3 businesses at the time, and yeah, he almost died a week later, and so here I was recovering from a C-section. He was code blue in the hospital here. We got airlifted to Edmonton, and dealing with that while trying to still run all my businesses, and I didn't have an assistant at the time. So that was a crazy story. And when I met with challenge now, I just think of like, okay, well, I overcame that challenge, and I don't think I could ever have anything more crazy than what I experienced that first month my son was born. So yeah.
Those have been your questions.
All right, thank you.
I think that last one, obviously, thank you for sharing it. That's a great story in regards to perspective. And I find as an entrepreneur, perspective is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this is challenging. However, when you look at things like this, it could be worse. And yeah.
And that's how I feel about 2020. And I've handled it pretty well, but it's because I've had experiences like that. I had to go through IVF to have my son as well. And so in 2016, dealing with the fire and dealing with going through IVF and then eventually getting pregnant and then all of the things that happened in 2016. And then of course, 2017, when my son was born now and all of this, I think about that year, 2016, being the most challenging year without a doubt in my life. There was a lot of ups and downs and just complete chaos. And so because of that, I look at 2020, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This isn't so bad. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. Obviously, 2020 was incredibly chaotic for a lot of people, and there's been a lot of challenges that people have faced, and I'm not trying to make light of that by any means. But you're absolutely right. It's that perspective for me where it's like, okay, well, now if I can take every challenge I have moving forward and use that as my baseline, then to me it's not so bad, you know?
That's awesome. Now, we're getting to the end here, but before we leave, you read books.
I do.
You read a lot of books. So yesterday I had a gentleman on the show, Lancaster. He recommended a book to me, which I started last night, called Animal Farm by George Wells. Phenomenal book. Orwell. Thank you. Great book, Lancaster. Thank you for recommending it. What book are you reading right now?
Right now I'm reading The E-Myth.
The E-Myth?
Yeah.
What's that about?
The entrepreneurial myth. So it's a world-renowned book. I couldn't tell you who the author is. Right? It's George something or other. So it talks about the entrepreneurial myth and how a lot of people get into business, and they get into business because they're good at something. Like let's say you have an electrician. Well, the electrician could completely rewire your house, and then they think, well, I don't want to have a boss. How about I just be my own boss? But then they don't realize that they've got to now do the bookkeeping and the marketing and, taking care of other staff. Now they don't have as much time to do what they're good at because they're talking about they have to do all of this other stuff. So it kind of talks about that journey and how it's very interesting. It says that most people who go into business, so there's 3 parts of each person, okay? So there's the manager, there's the entrepreneur, and there's the technician. So the technician is really good at what they do. So that's the electrician or the nail tech or the plumber or, the baker, okay? And then the entrepreneur is the one who's thinking about the future. Like, okay, well, where's this business going? What am I going to do next? And the manager is the one trying to keep everything together on a daily basis and making sure everything flows. And he says that majority of business owners, at least in the United States, you're 70% technician, you're 20% manager, and you're only 10% entrepreneur. And this is why most businesses fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting book.
The author of that book is Michael E. Gerber, by the way.
Oh, Michael E. Gerber.
There we go.
See, I was totally off.
Tanner, killing it. Good job, Tanner.
Totally off there.
Yeah, that's a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my trick to succeed in business is surround yourself with people who are smarter than you.
Absolutely.
If I'm the smartest guy in the room, I am in the wrong room.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's how I've looked at it. That's why I got Tanner here. Operating stuff behind the scenes. I can assure you, I know how none of this works. But Tanner, That's what
Elliot
he
knows how
crushes
to
it at.
hire the right people, that's for sure.
That's it. Awesome. Well, before we let you leave, please, I know most people don't do this on their own, business owners, because all the owners I know anyway, like yourself, are super humble. So can you please, though, give a shout out to your businesses? How can people get in contact with you if they want to utilize any of the businesses that you own in Fort McMurray?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just give a shout out to the two because the two really only have, the main bearing in social media or whatnot. But
Okay.
Seller Direct Northern Homes Realty, so we are a full service real estate brokerage. You can find us Seller Direct Northern Homes Realty on Facebook or SD Northern Homes Realty on Instagram. And you can reach out to us that way. If you reach out, you're going to get me. That's who you're going to get. I answer all of those myself, and I'm proud of that. I don't like to delegate that work because it's that level of customer service. And then Noble Choice Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're looking for a business coach or consultant, I also do a lot of leadership coaching. Then you can find me there. I am starting up the next Entrepreneur Masterclass coming up on April 1st. Really excited for that. There's only 9 spots available, and it is a 4-month group coaching program where I'm just in my current cohort right now, about halfway through. So that'll be opening up here in 2 weeks, actually.
Very cool. Okay, so definitely online they can find you.
Absolutely.
Sweet. And then you have a podcast or a show on Facebook
On Facebook.
that you do every other Wednesday called, what was it again?
The Balancing Act Business Chat.
There we go. And is there a certain time or it just happens on Wednesday?
It's 12:30 on Wednesdays.
There we go. All right. Now people know where to tune into. Great. All right. Well, Fort McMurray and everybody watching outside of Fort McMurray, because that's growing every day. Thank you very much. We appreciate you tuning in. But before we leave, I think myself and Tanner have to give a big shout out to Ali and the boys at Thickwood Barbershop next to the Black Horse Pub. Mark hooked Tanner up with a haircut. Ali hooked me up with my beard. We did a live show there yesterday. So to the boys at Thickwood Barbershop, on behalf of myself and Tanner, thanks for making us look pretty.
Yeah, they did one of those transformations, where they take the homeless person off the street and they make him look real good, except they did it with me.
Yeah. There you go. Awesome. On that note, Fort McMurray and everywhere else, thank you very much for tuning in. My name has been Elliot Pierre. This is the Mac City Morning Show, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.